Hey folks, my name's Chris Long and I'm the executive chef here at 2nd Street Bistro in Williamsburg. And today we're going to kind of take you into the kitchen behind the scenes and show you how we make our shrimp and grits from start to finish. Most people wouldn't do this, but it's such a ginormous pain in the backside that we're certain you're going to come in and eat it here instead of do all this mess. So, to start with, we're going to start with the beer broth. First, I've got it going over here in the pot so it doesn't take all day. But we've got some shrimp shells, which I'll show you how we get those in a few minutes. We've also got some celery, carrot, and onions. I'm about to add some bay leaves, some peppercorns, and crushed red pepper. And then we've got about 3 gallons of cold Yingling lager in there. We'll bring this to a boil, let it simmer for about an hour, barely bubbling. You know, you're not looking for a hard rolling boil. And then we'll strain it, and this will become the sauce at the very end for our shrimp and grits. But again, we'll get back to that. In this big pot here, we're going to start our stone ground grits. We still buy stone ground grits from Burg Mill in North Carolina. They actually still use the river to turn the stone wheel to turn the grits, so it's kind of nostalgic and it's southern food, so you got to have it all the way, right? So in here we've got 3 gallons of water. When this comes to a boil, I'm going to add 12 cups of stone ground grits. And then the secret ingredient is 2 pounds of butter and a quart of heavy cream, because butter makes everything better. So earlier, when I talked about harvesting the shrimp shells for our beer broth, we buy 1620 shrimp, and they come with the tails on. We actually like to take the tails off to make it a little easier for you guys to eat. We also utilize them in our beer broth. So if you grab them right at the base above the tail and just pinch them, they'll fall right out. And if you do these ahead of time, you can certainly refreeze them. But bada boom, bada bing. So now into the bowl, we're going to add 6 shrimp. This is andouille sausage. We import it in straight from Louisiana. It's a spicy Cajun sausage. Has a little spice. It's not so much it's going to blow you up, but it's enough to give it a little oomph. We're going to add half a link of that. And then we're going to toss that with our signature Cajun spice. 1 heaping tablespoon in there. And then just toss it all around so it's good and coated. And then I'm going to wait a few more awkward minutes for the pan to preheat. So now that our pan is preheated over a pretty high flame, we're going to add a little bit of our vegetable oil. And you can see it's kind of got some legs on it that's moving. You want it to be warm when you put it in there because you want to get a good sear on your shrimp. Alright, so there's our shrimp in. And you hear the sizzle. And we're going to give that a few minutes on each side to get a little sear on them. So now that we've got a little bit of sear on this side, I'm going to flip everything over. And you can see that beautiful sear on the bottom side there. Kind of give it a little shake, make sure everything's free and loose from the bottom of the pan. Alright, at this point I'm going to add our fresh scallions, red and yellow peppers, and fresh tomatoes. And we're going to give that just a second. I want those to be really crisp. It's important they have some texture and they're not all mushy and gross in your mouth. So now that this is just in the pan, we're going to add our beer broth through the magic of television that we made yesterday. And you'll see you get the nice little, you start to get the bubbles around the outside. That means you still got a good hot pan. You're getting a nice sear because you want to cook the shrimp really quick. You don't want it to be a long drawn out process. That's how you get really dry and tough shrimp. So we're going to let this go for just about a minute. So after we make the grits, once they come off the stove, we'll put them on sheet pans and chill them in the walk-in overnight. The next day, they're solid and firm, kind of a cake, so we cut them into triangles. From here, we bread them with our patented onion ring breader, and then deep fry them so you get the gooey goodness of grits inside but still get the crispy outside. And again, through the magic of television, bada boom, bada bing, out of the fryer, here's what you get. Nice golden brown grits, a little crust on the outside, nice and gooey inside. And it looks like this is the perfect time to take the shrimp off. So we'll kill the flame. I always like to toss it a couple times because it makes me feel fancy. And then just right over the grits into the bowl. And that's the shrimp and grits.